time is it? Vlogtober time! It is October 9th and I will be doing Vlogtober's day 8 and day 9. Day 8's question is, what do you miss about summer when the weather starts to turn? To be honest, there is not a lot that I miss about summer. Probably the warm weather for sure. I get cold very easily, but it doesn't really matter that much because my boyfriend likes to keep the house very cold. I miss the greenery too. I hate like how brown and gross and desolate everything gets in the winter. Some of you may be wondering, Catherine, why are you wearing a costume? Day 9's question is, have you ever been skiing or snowboarding? And I haven't, so that just felt like a really boring video. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about my past costumes for Halloween, and I can remember all the way back to when I was 10 years old, so prepare yourselves. I'm a huge fan of Halloween. In one of my past Vlogtober videos, I explained that Halloween is my favorite holiday of all of them, and it has been for quite some time. I love dressing up, and I went trick-or-treating until I was 21, so I really enjoy it and I love haunted houses and all of that, but dressing up is probably the most fun that I have with it. I don't care if I'm not going anywhere, I'm dressing up. I am not going to be my normal self on Halloween. In the year 2000, I dressed up in a store-bought costume and it was called The Witch of the Web. And I think the reason why I remember that one is because that same year I was dressed in that costume and I went to a haunted attraction with my brother, and someone was talking on their phone, and she was also smoking a cigarette. She was hand talking and whatever, and she burned into right through my sleeve into my arm, and I still have the scar to this day. That was pretty memorable. And 2011 I dressed as an anthropomorphic cat. An anthropomorphic anything animal is just an animal that walks on its hind legs and can talk. In the year 2002, I dressed as an insane asylum patient. In 2003, I dressed as a pirate wench. In 2004, this was the year where I was not 100% sure about Halloween. I didn't feel too cool for it, and I didn't feel too cool for trick-or-treating or anything, because I totally went trick-or-treating. I didn't have the same enthusiasm that year as I have for it, as I've had for it ever since. So I didn't have a costume by Halloween, or at least by trick-or-treat night, and I was at my friend Laura's house and we decided we wanted to go trick-or-treating. So we just put together what she had in her closet. She allowed me to wear this really pretty kind of blousey, deep red velvety shirt that she had, and she had devil horns. So I wore those, and I was a devil demon person for Halloween that year. We had a lot of fun, and after that I just realized, I want to dress up every year and I want to have really great costumes, and I want to have a lot of fun, and this is fun for me. I don't need to go to a party to feel like I'm having fun. I just want to dress up in costume, and so every year I made sure that I had a really good costume, or at least what I thought was really good, and I tend to plan my costumes well in advance. In 2005, I did my first cosplay, so I dressed up as Magenta from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. In 2006, I dressed up as a fallen angel, which is pretty generic. It's not like cosplay or anything. I had a lot of fun. I gathered the biggest group of trick-or-treaters ever, and we were a bunch of teenagers, and everybody gave us candy, and they thought we were really cool. We were all dressed up as something, and it was the best. It was so much fun, and I don't regret it for a minute, and it was great. In 2007, I dressed as an anthropomorphic fox. What does the fox say? In 2008, I dressed up as Alice from Alice in Wonderland. I mean, it was bound to happen eventually, right? With me being a blonde female with long hair. In 2009, I dressed as an elf from Middle-earth, namely from The Lord of the Rings. In 2010, I reused my circlet from my circlet and my elf ear tips from my elf costume, and I went as a woodland fairy. In 2011, when I first moved to Utah, I had been so focused on the move and on being with my boyfriend that I didn't really consider a Halloween costume until kind of the last minute, like the last week or two. So I had to wear like a crappy store-bought costume. I had a lot of trouble finding something because it tends to be that costumes geared toward women tend to be very short or very revealing, and I'm not very comfortable with that level of showiness. Plus, with my body type, because I'm not an hourglass and because I'm not very thin, those types of costumes tend to look bad on me. They tend to make me look like I've gained weight. So I tried to find something that kind of worked, and I just kind of settled for something. It was, I don't remember what the name of it was, but it was some kind of like dark fairy thing. These outfits are either built for women who have very large busts and very small waists, or very small everything. I don't fit either of those. I'm like in between, so it never really works out for me when I try to go with costumes like that. And last year, 2012, I actually dressed in 3 costumes. It was great. Because I was working at Blockbuster at the time, and we were told that we could dress for the entire week of Halloween. So I did. I only had 3 shifts that week, and the first costume I wore was I have a dress that Jonathan got me. It's an inaccurate version of a Starfleet engineering officer's dress. The next shift I reused my Lord of the Rings costume. And the shift after that was a new Halloween costume I did, and I decided to go as Elle Driver from Kill Bill Volume 1. This year I'm probably just going to reuse my Elle Driver cosplay. I'm not 100% sure though, but I only have 1 contact lens left, and it's the left eye, and she wears an eye patch over her right eye, so it would work out quite nicely. In September, from the 5th through the 7th, Salt Lake had its very first Comic-Con. So my boyfriend and I went to that. He dressed up as Dr. Krieger from Archer. He wore the same costume. I wore something different each day. Day 1, I reused my Star Trek cosplay. On day 2, I wore this. I dressed as Fiona, the human from Adventure Time. So it was a really simple costume, so I just decided to go for it. I don't have her sword, unfortunately. I would love to one day have her crystal sword, but today is not that day. On the Saturday of Comic-Con, I just reused my Elle Driver cosplay. Those were days 8 and 9 in one video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great one.